Want me to start?
Sure.
Okay. My name is Dugie Russell. I'm 84 years old, and I grew up in Beverly on Cabot Street just after the war. In the good days, everything was neat. Everything was copacetic. Everything was happy. Today, it's disappearing faster than we can imagine. The beauty of truth. I can travel in time through a song, a very short journey shouldn't last too long. If you listen to what I am singing, your journey isn't far away. I'll take you there if you have the time. Close your eyes and listen to my rhyme. Don't forget the past, it brought you this far. A very short journey from a faraway star. I'll take you there if you let me. We can share the beauty of truth. So come, my song will guide you. This song is the absolute truth. I'll take you there if you let me. We'll share the beauty of truth. So come, my song will guide you. This song is the absolute truth. Yeah, this song is the absolute truth. There were 6 of us in the family. My mother was a single mom. They were divorced. And my father was a bit of a comedian, and I think I picked up a lot of his humor, and my mother's also. They both had a great sense of humor. My sister being the youngest, I'm the next, and I had another brother, Joe. He was killed in a car accident right out here on 128. And my next brother up would be Larry, who I just lost about maybe 2 years ago now. And then my brother Gordon, the oldest, he was in show business in New York. He wrote Dark Shadows, One Life to Live, and he did the movie Dark Shadows. And I think some of my writing ability, which I'm doing now, is my brother coming out in me. I just write songs, and I don't know where the words are coming from. We were rather dirt poor. I remember different situations. I even wrote it in a song, one of my songs, and it's about being in other people's houses. For instance, I'd go and visit a friend, and there'd be fruit on the table, and I couldn't figure out why someone wasn't eating that fruit instead of just letting it lay there on the table. And then I'd see a cookie jar, and I'd look up on the refrigerator, and there's a cookie jar up there, and it's full. I couldn't believe it. I invited my friend over for dinner one day, and I broke out a box of Wheaties and some milk, and we had a bowl of Wheaties. You get up from the table, started walking to cross the tracks to where he lived. And I said, "Ray, where you going?" He said, "I'm going home to get something to eat." So it was tough times, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. When I returned from the service in 1960, I saw some people in the water off of Endicott College, and I watched them, and they had suits on with tanks and so forth, and then I just watched them disappear under the water, and I said, I've got to do this. And at the time I had a collection of guns. So the next morning I went to work at Raytheon. I walked by the guard shack. "Morning, Jim." "Good morning. How are you?" I went down to the cafeteria and set up a 4x8 table, and I laid out all of my guns on the table in the cafeteria at Raytheon, and I raffled them off and sold every one of them. If you tried doing this today, you'd be so far back in jail you'd have to pipe sunlight into you. And I got the money, started diving, and that's a whole new career. That was a whole new story in my life. I did it for 50 years, and I still have the urge to go back to my favorite ship, the USS New Hampshire. Well, I met my wife when I came back from Thule, Greenland. She was on a beach, I remember, and I asked a friend of mine, I says, "Who's that one over there on the blanket?" And they said, "You won't get a shot at that, Dugie. You can leave that alone." I says, "Oh, yeah?" He says, "Watch this. Now everybody on that beach is nice and tanned, and I just came back from Greenland, and I was as white as a napkin, and I had a shitty Air Force bathing suit on. It was all faded. I'm all white, and everybody else is tanned, and I'm going to be Clark Gable and go over and swoop her off her feet." She said when she looked up, she almost threw up. But I asked her for a date, and we started dating, and then we started going steady, and within a year we were married. Marie was my mainstay, you might say. I would not be talking to you today if this woman hadn't taken care of me, though, in my wilder days. I don't think I've ever been this content in my life. And this particular song actually happened to me on Route 97. I was tooling along. I am what you call a garbologist. So as I was driving along, I spotted what looked like a yard sale, and I could see 6 pickup trucks in the driveway. My pickup made it 7, and people were loading stuff on the trucks, and I looked around and I said, oh my God, this is the best yard sale I've ever been to. I'll let the song tell the rest of the story. While driving down Route 97, going like a bat out of hell, I spotted what looked like a yard sale. It was one for the boys, I could tell. 6 pickups scattered the driveway with everything under the sun. My pickup made it 7. Oh, I knew I was gonna have fun. Then something ahead caught my eye, shining in the sun so bright. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was Pee-wee's Columbia bike. So I grabbed my share of the booty, looking for someone to pay. A voice in the rough came behind me as I listened to what he had to say. This isn't a yard sale, you asshole. My friends are helping me move. You best be hitting the highway, or some teeth you are gonna lose. You have a nice day, I gestured. I think I'll just move along. 97 couldn't come soon enough. That's why I'm singing this song. Now I'm flying down Route 97, twice the speed of a bat out of hell. Still looking for a yard sale, making sure they have something to sell. Now I'm flying down Route 97, twice the speed of a bat out of hell. Still looking for that yard sale, making sure they have something to sell. Making sure they have something to sell. Yeah, the 97 yard sale. 7 Yale Boulevard. We bought this house 50 years ago. 50 or 51. And I was coming down the street with my wife and the realtor, and we pulled up in front of the house, and I said, we'll take it. And she says, you haven't seen the inside yet. And I says, I don't care about the inside of the house. I had a vision of what I could do with this yard and bring it back to life. And it just, from that point on, when I moved in, I started. And I was diving in New Hampshire at the time, heavy, but we put a lot of time into the yard and garden. And my wife had a patch, probably half the size of this room, and like a postage stamp garden. and it grew from there to raised beds, flowers that bloom one behind the other. When one dies, another color comes up, and it's a continuing thing throughout the season. As the seasons change, the yard decor changes with it, and it took 50 years to get it to where it is today, and I'm still working it. There's a note in my shed out here stating that when my garden is gone, I'm gone. I had a friend, Bob Kelly. He was my good friend. He was quadriplegic, and he used to come down and he would survey my garden and hang out, and he just loved coming here. So I didn't have to think too hard for the words of the song, because I think Bob Kelly wrote the rest of the song for me. And it's called May I Walk Through Your Garden. As I stroll through my garden on a bright sunny day, I heard the voice of an old friend who softly did say, I'd like to stroll through your garden, see the sweet things you grew. From a land that was nothing when you started anew, to a haven of beauty where birds love to sing, and the crickets join in with a familiar roaring. Tomatoes have ripened, the taste oh so sweet. I love the green plant you grew from your friend down the street. I wanna walk through your garden, can I walk through with you? I cannot believe all the things that you grew. The landscape, the flowers, the colors so true. I still can't believe all the things that you do. A green plant has ripened, see the buds bursting through. Could I please have a hit off that green plant you grew? As I stroll through my garden on a bright sunny day, I heard the voice of an old friend who softly did say, I'd like to stroll through your garden, see the sweet things you grew. From a land that was nothing when you started anew. The green plant has ripened, see the buds bursting through. Could I please have a hit off that sweet plant you grew. Yeah, let's all have a hit off that sweet plant you grew. So we're in my shed here, and I have a name for it. It's called the Grateful Shed, and I originally built it as a potting shed. I had the plants up top here with the windows in the roof so the sun could come through, and I did all my potting and everything in here. But then I needed a place where I could play and sing without disturbing my wife or disturbing anybody in the neighborhood. So I set up a little music niche here in the shed, and my friend Paul D'Angelo visits me here quite often, and we write a lot of material for his shows in this Grateful Shed. And I've sat out here for hours on end just playing the guitar, and it just doesn't seem to stop. I'm totally aware that this is my hangout, and the more people I get to visit me, the more I like it, because I can tell some of my stories. And one day someone was talking to me and said, Dugie, have you ever hit the New Hampshire? And I said, what do you mean? What is it? And he says, there's a 74-gun battleship out here. It sunk in 22. I says, a 74-gun battleship? I can't imagine that. And then he said, all the nails and spikes on the ship were forged by Paul Revere. And that's all I had to hear. From that day on, I dove this wreck until I was blue in the face. I made rigs so I could stay down 4 hours at a time without coming up. I made other tools for getting some of the artifacts off the wreck, which are scattered in the rocks because the ship burnt before it sank. I would go back to the wreck in a heartbeat if the time is right. Just one more dive, because there's stuff still down there to be had, and I just like that nostalgia trip of seeing the wreck again. I used to talk to the thing when I was down there. I loved it there, and I want to go back. I know about your life. I've lived through it all. You know nothing of mine, 'cause you cannot recall. If you went back in time, when things seem to rhyme, and the best things you had were so hard to find, being poor, you see, it happened to me. But I never gave it the time. Here's hoping
you live as long as I do. You have further to travel down a road so untrue. I've been down that road, and yes, I pulled through. The next exit is mine. I know I'll be fine. Look around you, my young friends. Don't follow the trends. There's a dark cloud on the horizon. Without being aloof, search for the truth. Illuminati is watching. Take advantage of life. To hell with the strife. You have a long way to go, and I do hope it's so. Be wiser and bolder from your head to your toes. They're not telling the truth, never will, I suppose. Take care, my young friend. Don't follow the trends. There's a dark road, I am told. Just listen to me, and then you will see. Instead of lies, you'll find gold. Just listen to me, I'm sure you will see. Instead of lies, you'll find gold. I'm glad that I am old.
The last dive that I made was, oh God, it must be 5, 6, 7 years ago. And I dove the wreck in the middle of February in a wetsuit. It was 35 degrees out, and I was with a team of other divers, and they asked me to go along because I had a reputation as the godfather of the USS New Hampshire. And they said, we got to get Dugie to come with us. So I went with them, and I teamed up with a young man who wound up saving my life. And it's funny because I saved somebody else's life in the same spot, and this kid saved mine that day. I came up after my dive. I had a good dive. I had some nice trinkets that I had found on the bottom. And the ship that brought me there was too far away to swim, and it was freezing. And I was getting cold because I'd been down an hour. And I said, well, just go up in the rocks, and I'll sit on the rocks on the island and wait for the boat to pick me up. But there was a surge on, and I know through experience of bringing other people back that made the same mistake, that you don't get into the surge, because once you're in it, you're not going to get out. It just throws you up, pulls you back, and dumps you, and then back and forth. And without thinking, I was freezing, and I just says, I'm going to go up on the rocks. Well, I got caught in the surge, and it pummeled me. I was getting smashed into the rocks, and I was having a hell of a time, and I was trying to get out of the gear that I had rented. I had never worn this gear before. If it was my own gear, 2 pulls and everything would have been gone, and I'd be floating on the surface in my wetsuit. But I couldn't undo the clips and so forth, and so I couldn't get out of anything. Meanwhile, I'm being smashed in, thrown into the rocks, pulled back down. A trough would open, it would close, and then throw me back into the rocks again. And finally, it threw me up onto the rocks one more time, and I was completely wasted. I had absolutely no more strength. I had no air, and I was laying there, and the kid that was with me said, Dugie, get up and run now. And I couldn't turn my head. My head was laying flat against the rocks like this. He was over here. And I said, I can't do it. I'm going to die. I'm sorry. And I remember being very mad at myself for putting myself in this condition and position. And the same, I put this young man in the same position. I felt pretty bad about that. But the next wave grabbed me and pulled me back out, and then threw me back in again. And he was getting banged around too, this young kid. And then finally he got hold of an outcrop when the wave was washing out, and held on, grabbed me, and pulled me, and then we both got up and climbed into the rocks out of the surf until the boat. By now the boat had spotted that, seen that I was in trouble, so they come over and picked me up. But I just remember thinking of the family, and I was ready to go, but I wasn't afraid. I don't know why I wasn't afraid. This is it. This is how it's going to end, I guess. I cry every time I do this song. The lights were bright in New York City. Big Apple was doing its thing. The sun shone through the towers. You could almost hear a robin sing. The air was so sublime. There was laundry on the line. But then 9/11 came along. It carried lies and treachery, deceit and treason too. For God's sakes, find out the reason, so millions can find comfort too. Take the time to know the reason,
Let the families dry their eyes. Hear the first responders cry. Bring back the truth to old and wise. There's an eagle in the sky with tears in his eyes. The truth is never shy. Step up to find a reason. Keep the tears from our eagle's eyes. Don't let our eagle cry. 3,500 and counting. Find out the reason why. Then 9/11 truth will come alive. If you'll only find the reason why.
The New Hampshire, Paul Revere won the contract in, I think, 1816 to supply all the bronze nails, decking nails, sheeting nails that held the copper sheeting on the bottom of the ship. Paul Revere being the only one in the continental United States that could do this. And at one point, the ship caught fire while in New York on the Hudson River. And there was an oil spill. The New York Navy militia were using the ship as a barracks and a training facility. And there was an oil spill on the Hudson. There was a tug working the area that backfired, got the fire going on the water, got the USS New Hampshire on fire. It was wood, and it sunk in the Hudson River. The Mulholland Machinery Corporation bought it for cheap money, and they were going to tow it to the Bay of Fundy, where they'd bring it in on a moon tide and beach it, burn it, and take all this bronze and copper off of it. So on the way, two men that were steering this burnt-out hulk were cooking. And one of them knocked over the stove, got the fire going again, the tow line parted, and it burnt all day off of Marblehead, Beverly, Salem, and then finally went up against Graves Island, which is in Manchester. And as the ship burned, everything topside, nails, spikes, trunnel pins, swords, rifles, everything, fell inside. And the live oak that was burning, these timbers, when they're so big, but when they burnt, they're like hot coal. And pools of bronze and copper were forming inside the ship. And as she struck the rocks, a seam would open and molten bronze or copper would pour out. And as it did, it formed a mass of beautiful sculptures. And I managed to pick up a lot of these, and I made my own sculptures using the wood from the ship and the melted metal. So while I was down retrieving these nails, spikes, trundle pins, and so forth, it was always like a big grab bag. It was really exciting to find things, especially the spikes, which are worth money today. And I was going by the main wreckage, what's left of it. Just you got ribs sticking up, something like you see in that picture there. I saw a section, probably the size of this shed, 8 by 16 or something like that. And I said, Jesus, that looks, I can move this. It's not connected to the rest of the stuff. It's a piece, this piece broke off, but it weighed, I think it was around three ton. We added another ton to it, so we raised about 4 ton of timber. One day I went back and once I found this thing was loose, I said, I'll bet this wood would be gorgeous if it was cleaned up. And it turned out that I went through chainsaws like you wouldn't believe trying to cut this thing. And finally, it's like cutting steel. It's petrified almost after being in the water for 40 years, over 40 years. And quite difficult to work with. You have to take what the ship gives you. You don't say, well, I'm going to take this piece of wood and design this, and you take it for what the ship gives you. And that's the way I made the cribbage boards. I never made the same one twice. I used the nails, the sheeting nails. I used those for pegging. And I'm down to my last 8 cribbage boards of 4 ton of timber that I've had for 50 years. The bird houses are bird estates. We can't make that mistake, bird estates. The bird estate started when my wife saw a little birdhouse somewhere, and she says, could you make one of those? I says, yeah, piece of cake, I'll make it. So I made it, and everybody loved it. She loved it, and everybody that saw it thought it was great, so I'll make another one. And then another, and then another, and then I started hitting yard sales and picking up things to add to the bird houses to give them a very distinctive look. Got to be where I'd spend maybe a month on one birdhouse, and the prices went from almost nothing to around $700 for one house. This is a song I wrote about a journey that I was on 5 years ago, and it seems as though when I came back from this journey, I was away a short time, but it was a long time. And I just couldn't believe. I thought I'd come back in the wrong year because I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. I've never seen so many stupid people in my life. So I wrote this song, What Happened While I Was Away. After a short but very long journey, I bit off more than I could chew. 'Cause when I opened my
much to my surprise, was a priest trying to bid me adieu. I wasn't gone long, now something is wrong. I return to a state of confusion. What happened while I was away? The world is upside down. I'm bound to an elaborate illusion, and instead of a priest I see clowns. The world's gone to hell. No more tolling of the bell. Let's pray that peace will come along. I could sing you sad, sad stories, but I'm sure you know them too. Instead, I'll sing you a love song and bid good day to you. Instead, I'll sing you a love song and bid good day to you.
5 years ago, I was operated on for a gallbladder, and the operation went well. Nurse came in. "How are you doing, Dugie?" And I says, I'm doing great. I feel fine." She says, "You're amazing. You heal so fast. Every time I see you, you're supposed to be here for a longer period of time, but you heal fast." I don't know what that is all about. But about an hour later, 2 hours later, I forget what it was, the same nurse came in, and she says, "How you doing, Dugie?" And I says, I don't feel too good. I feel very strange. I've had a lot of strange feelings, but this feeling I can't put my finger on. And she took one look at me and said, "Oh my God, this guy's bleeding internally." So they couldn't go back in to repair what this doctor screwed up. He left me bleeding in 2 spots, and I was bleeding out. And they couldn't do the job at the hospital I was in, so they rushed me to Burlington. And when I got to Burlington, I remember being on the table. I think I knew I was dying because I was losing so much blood, and there wasn't much left in my body, I don't think. And this is when I had a near-death experience. I just said to a nurse, I reached out and said, "Take my hand or I can't come back." And as I said that, I went back. I went back and up. And then I just remember being in this beautiful white light and very relaxed, not afraid, like not a care. There was no angles, no globes, no people saying come back or go forward. I just felt beautiful. And came to, and there was a priest about that far from my face giving me the last rites. And I told him, "You can go, Father. You're not needed anymore. I'm back." And it was, ever since then, it's just been a crazy thing for me. I never really talked about it too much because there's nobody to talk to about it. You got to talk to people that have been there, and to understand, not understand, but to just have somebody knowing what you went through, because they went through the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So it was an experience, and I'm still having experiences through it. Ever since then, I had the desire to sing and play the guitar, which I never did. And I'm writing songs faster than I can count. And it's just, I love it. I have to play the guitar every day. I tell the wife every now and then, I think this has got to be my brother Gordon coming out in me, giving me these ideas, and some of the wording I use, I never used before. I think he's behind it, maybe. But a lot of other things too. I became not a different person, but a so much wiser person than I was before. I have all this energy that I didn't have before. I mean, I always had energy, but not like this. And there were things that happened to me that I just kind of shrug off maybe, but whatever happened, I went somewhere, and I ain't afraid of going back.
I'm living the life I once had, when things were never as bad. Too many scammers and schemers, the reason I live as a dreamer. I dream of scooters, not looters. I dream of hooters, not shooters. I dream of a new and brighter day. And here in my dream I will stay. Yes, I'm living a life of a dreamer. I'm tired of people's demeanor. Let's stop the looters and shooters and get on with the scooters and hooters. If my dreams come true, I will pass them on to you. so you can dream of a brighter day without waiting too long. Let's fix what is wrong, and your Hooters will show me the way. I'm living the life I once had, when things were never this bad. Let's stop the looters and shooters and get on with the scooters and hooters. Yeah, let's stop the looters and shooters and get on with the scooters and hooters. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Did you get that?